on a UAC-20, but still decent enough for light armor targets up to medium and sometimes heavy. But it's very dependent on heavy, and the Streak SRM-6 is a more advanced guidance, but I cannot see any significant difference when using it. And the mask usually helps with guidance and other issues. Sorry, not guidance, sorry. With targeting, mainly. Its C variant is mainly also a favorite of mine when engaging at close range when it used to be available first off the bat. It's basically a full-on laser boat with 4 medium pulse lasers and an ER small beam lasers. The beam lasers are nice, they add to the mix and don't create a tremendous amount of heat, especially since this has 5 heat sinks to counterbalance most of the heat, but still you have to be aware when engaging in close range you're going to be firing this rapidly depending on your playstyle. So if you're at close range, try to get the target down as quick as possible. Don't always aim for its body, even though it's a large target. Usually aiming at the legs if you have a good computer and capable of having a solid connection to not see everyone jittering about. Actually hit the target. The Owens is a old favorite of a lot of people since it's quick off the bat and able to move in enemy territory real quickly. Its prime version is basically a scout and missile boat. 2 small pulse lasers for support, 2 15 LRMs, and a tag for hitting targets at long ranges. Its A variant is similar but has an extended range which increases the heat significantly on this mech since it doesn't have any extra heat sinks to counterbalance anything, and has a machine gun just mainly for very light anti-infantry vehicle. B variant is a nice close range version due to the Streak SRMs, which still do a decent amount of damage, and two small pulse lasers and a machine gun to back up for a tiny bit of firepower. Just like the Uller C, the Owen C is also a laser boat, has enough heat sinks to counterbalance, and has a C3 to help show enemies that are within your vicinity to your friendly units. Basically, this is a nice hit and run version, but uses a beam instead of a pulse. Usually you see a little less output, but a significant amount of damage still dealt out, depending on targets, mainly light. Ravens have always been a prime scout. This one is usually meant for a close range scouting with a narc to to aid other people who are, say, in a Puma or any of the other missile variant Light Mechs early in the game. Carries 2 beam lasers for some support against Light Mechs, and an SRM-6, which is decent as well. Its A variant is a nice scout one, mainly for tagging mechs at long range, but I'm not too used to being a missile boat tagger, so I wouldn't recommend this if you really wanted to get into the actions. Even though it has 4 medium beam lasers, it's not a kind of mech that gets into the mix of things, since it's not an ER version, it's just standard beams. B variant carries an extended range LR-15 along with the tag. It's a tendency. The Raven in historical canon for the Battletech series has always been as a scout mech. It's never been made for large engagements, mainly just to harass and fall back. But as you can see, it's mainly a light missile boat. Its C variant is the more popular though, since it has a little significant more firepower than most of the others for medium to long range engagements, since it has a PPC, which is does decent amount of damage, but not a hell of a lot, since usually it's best to have them grouped in twos if you want to dish out a certain amount of damage. But then again, this is a favorite of mine if I'm going to be using the Raven. The Osiris was a new mech that was added. It's basically one of the lightest of the light mechs here, since it at times cannot take as much damage as most of the others, but is capable of doing 360 torso rotations, unlike most of the other mechs, which are only capable at times of 180. Its first version it has decent outload of 3 medium beam lasers, which is nice for the support, and SRM-6. Basically, this is great for hit and runs, like most of the other mechs, which carry a similar variant. 2 machine guns mainly for vehicles, aircraft, and elementals. But I would not recommend even using machine guns against, say, demolishers or one of the other heavier tanks. Its A variant is a long-range scout variant. Though yes, it does use extended range large lasers and 1 medium, it does dish out a certain amount of damage to medium and light mechs. But any higher, you're going to be asked to do some significant maneuvering and hit and run tactics against a heavy. Osiris B has always been a favorite of many of the people once it came out. Even though the mech is very light, an AC-20 does significant amount of damage against a light mech. Usually you can take down a mech from about green health to about half, maybe, depending on where you hit them. Especially cockpits, since they are the most lightly armored. It comes with 3 small beam lasers as a support, but mainly you want to focus on getting as many significant shots with the AC-20, especially in the hit and run. I've once taken out a heavy mech when I was lightly damaged with this. I'm not sure if the guy was lagging out or not, but I was able to outmaneuver him enough to get enough AC-20 shots till he exploded. Thank God it was not a nuke. And its and then last variant is the Osiris C variant. 4 medium beam pulse lasers, 1 small pulse laser, and 2 flammers. This is basically a good hit and run mech for dishing out against mainly lights. But if you want to be one of those overheater taggers, I would just using this against the heavy mechs, which don't have as much maneuverability. Mainly we're talking upwards beyond the Thanatos maybe, but it's still a very significant amount of damage that it can dish if you play your cards right, and if you're also playing a team and you want to be overheating a mech while having your teammates pound on him while he's waiting for most of his heat to dissipate, especially when he's used up most of his coolant. But then again, not many people use up all their coolant all at once when engaging. But this is going to wrap everything up. This is Makan. I'll be doing the medium mechs another time when I get the chance, but find all the Mechwarriors.